Minnesota news. Given the fact that this individual began experiencing symptoms on November 22nd, tested positive on November 24th, that would suggest that there's been community spread of this variant for at least the last 10 days within the United States. Is that the White House's assessment, and to what extent does that change your understanding and your approach to combating this new variant?
Well, I think we need to be very careful from the government and of course from the media as well about how we assess and attribute community spread or what has happened here. There was information put out by the Minnesota Public Health Department. I would just reiterate a couple of the components of that. Many of you may have seen it, but in case you haven't, there's an individual, an adult male, a resident of Hennepin County. He had been vaccinated. The person developed mild symptoms, as you noted, on November 22nd and sought COVID-19 testing on November 24th. The person's symptoms have resolved. The person spoke with the Minnesota Public Health Department investigators and reported traveling to New York City and attending the Anime New York City 2021 convention at the Javits Center from the 19th through the 21st. Any contact tracing, which is imperative and important, would be done through the CDC and public health officials as well. But I would also note that the Minnesota Public Health Department will do a press conference at noon, and we would expect they'd have additional information. Important question about contact tracing and what we anticipate. I just want to really rely on the public health officials to speak to that.
And are you aware of any other cases of the Omicron variant in the United States at the moment, other than the Minnesota case and the California case?
We have been very transparent. I think, hopefully you would all agree, about providing that information as it becomes available. It typically comes through public health departments. They often provide it themselves first, but we are in close touch every single day with state and local public health authorities. So not that I'm aware of, obviously, again, typically rises through public health officials. I would note, as this Dr. Fauci has said over the course of the last week, every single day, even the restrictions we put in place was not going to prevent this variant from coming here. It would just slow. That was the objective. So we do anticipate there will be more cases, and we know that will be the case, and that's why we're focused on doing everything we can to fight the virus and the variant.
Just big picture here. President Biden has repeatedly promised to shut down this virus. He has talked about wanting to end the pandemic. Is that still possible? Does he still believe that that is possible, or are we starting to shift now, especially with the rise of this variant, to perhaps accepting that we need to live with COVID for years to come?
Well, first I would say there's a lot we don't know about the variant yet, and that is challenging and frustrating. I understand for Americans, for all of you, and we want to give the space and time for the public health officials who are working 24/7 to assess and provide guidance on it. There are a range of options, as Dr. Fauci has spoken to and our medical experts have spoken to. It could be less deadly. It could be more. We don't know. So I just want to say that that is the next step in this process. The president, and you'll hear him speak to this today, continues to believe that if we build on the bold steps that we've taken to date, if we continue to make the vaccines more accessible, to increase testing, increase masking, we can return to a version of normal in this country. That's what everybody wants and everybody would like to see. Go ahead.
Back on the question